Immanuel Kant was born on April 22, 1724, in Königsberg, Prussia, modern-day Kaliningrad, Russia. His father was a saddle maker, and his family lived a modest, devout Lutheran lifestyle. Kant's childhood was shaped by values of piety and hard work in a humble environment. Young Kant received a rigorous education at the Collegium Fridericianum in Königsberg, where he studied Latin, mathematics, theology, and classical literature. From an early age, he displayed a keen interest in learning and questioning established ideas. Upon entering the University of Königsberg, Kant initially focused on theology. However, his interests shifted toward philosophy and science after encountering Newton's physics, Leibniz's metaphysics, and Wolff's logic system. At the time, philosophy was dominated by a debate between empiricists and rationalists. Kant's intellectual world was shaped by reading thinkers like Descartes, Locke, and Hume. In 1755, Kant earned his doctorate in philosophy and began lecturing at the University of Königsberg. However, he faced financial difficulties and supported himself by offering private lessons. His encounter with Hume's philosophy, especially on causality, led Kant to reevaluate his entire system of thought. In 1770, he was appointed professor of logic and metaphysics, marking the most productive period of his philosophical career. During this time, he wrote his groundbreaking works, Critique of Pure Reason 1781, Critique of Practical Reason 1788, and Critique of the Power of Judgment 1790. Kant led a highly disciplined and methodical life. He rose early, taught classes, wrote his works, and took a daily walk at precisely the same time each afternoon. His schedule was so regular that townspeople reportedly set their clocks by his walk. He never married, dedicating his life to thought and writing. Kant passed away on February 12, 1804, in Königsberg. What is critical philosophy? Kant developed a system he called critical philosophy, which examines what the human mind can know, what it should do, and what it may hope for. According to Kant, the fundamental questions of philosophy are: what can I know? Epistemology, theory of knowledge, what should I do? Ethics and morality, what may I hope for? Religion and metaphysics, what is man, the essence of philosophy? To answer these questions, Kant wrote three major works: Critique of Pure Reason, on knowledge and metaphysics; Critique of Practical Reason, on ethics and morality; Critique of the Power of Judgment, on aesthetics and art. One of Kant's most important works, Critique of Pure Reason, investigates the limits and structure of human knowledge. In this work, Kant explains how human understanding derives not only from experience but also from the mind's internal structure. Bridging empiricism and rationalism, Kant proposed a system that synthesizes the views of empiricists like Locke and Hume with rationalists like Descartes and Leibniz. Empiricists: all knowledge comes through sensory experience. Rationalists: knowledge is derived from the logical operations of the mind. According to Kant, knowledge arises from both sensory experience and the mind's active interpretive power. Phenomena and noumena: phenomena, reality as perceived through human experience; noumena, things in themselves, the true reality that humans cannot directly know. A priori and a posteriori knowledge: a priori knowledge, knowledge independent of experience, for example, mathematics; a posteriori knowledge, knowledge based on experience, for example, the weather. Categorical imperative. The foundation of Kant's moral philosophy, Immanuel Kant's Critique of Practical Reason introduces the categorical imperative, one of the most influential concepts in modern ethical theory. According to Kant, morality must be based on an unconditional principle and grounded in universal rules determined by human free will. Definition of the categorical imperative. The categorical imperative is the fundamental moral law that dictates human actions unconditionally. Unconditional means acting solely based on moral correctness, without reference to personal interests or specific outcomes. For Kant, this principle represents a universal moral law comprehensible through reason. Example: the moral principle "tell the truth" is an unconditional command. Regardless of the situation or consequences, telling the truth is a moral obligation. Difference between hypothetical and categorical imperatives. Kant distinguishes between two types of moral commands. Hypothetical imperative. These commands prescribe actions required to achieve specific goals. They are conditional. Example, if you want to succeed, work hard. Categorical imperative. These commands apply universally and unconditionally. They are not dependent on any specific goal or situation. Example, do not lie or do not harm others. Fundamental formulas of the categorical imperative. To better explain the categorical imperative, Kant presents three key formulations. 3.1 Formula of universal law. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. According to this principle, when taking an action, one should consider whether the underlying rule could be universally applied. Would the world be livable if everyone acted in the same way? Example, consider lying as a universal law. If everyone lied, trust would vanish and communication would become impossible. Therefore, lying cannot be a universal law and is morally wrong. Formula of humanity. Act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of another, always at the same time as an end, never merely as a means. This formulation emphasizes that every human being has inherent worth and should be respected as an end in themselves. No one should be treated solely as a means to achieve another's goals. Example, exploiting employees solely for profit while disregarding their human dignity is morally wrong. Formula of autonomy and freedom. Every rational being must act as both the legislator and subject of universal moral laws. This principle asserts that individuals have the capacity to create moral laws through their rational will. Moral laws are not imposed externally. Individuals, through their reason and autonomy, create and adhere to these laws. Example, a person acting according to what they sincerely believe is right, free from external coercion, demonstrates moral autonomy. Applications and examples of the categorical imperative. The categorical imperative applies to various ethical and moral evaluations. Moral dilemmas. It provides a framework for applying universal principles when making difficult ethical decisions. Law and justice. Modern legal systems rely on Kant's emphasis on human dignity and freedom as core moral values. Business ethics, employee rights, corporate responsibility, and ethical management are influenced by Kant's ethical theory. Philosophical critiques of the categorical imperative. The categorical imperative has received both widespread praise and critical analysis. Supporters. Kant's ethical theory is praised for linking moral responsibility to universal rules while emphasizing individual freedom and dignity. Critics. Some philosophers argue that Kant's moral theory is too rigid and inflexible. For instance, the rule always tell the truth might fail in exceptional cases, such as lying to save someone's life. The categorical imperative is central to Kant's moral philosophy and remains one of the most revolutionary ethical concepts. Its principles of unconditional, universal moral law and respect for human dignity have profoundly influenced modern legal systems, human rights advocacy, and social justice frameworks. According to Kant, individuals can create moral laws through their free will, achieving true moral freedom only by adhering to these universal principles. Critique of the Power of Judgment 1790, Aesthetics and Art. In his final major work, Kant explored aesthetic judgments, beauty, and art. According to Kant, beauty, that which is pleasing, orderly, and universally appreciable, the sublime, that which inspires awe and overwhelms human perception through its vastness and power. Kant's philosophy remains one of the foundational pillars of modern thought. His work redefined the limits of human reason and explored the basis of freedom and morality. Kant's legacy continues to shape contemporary discussions in ethics, science, and philosophy.